Okay, now we're going to work on some application problems or some word problems. So here we have one that says a sports and entertainment center has 4/5 of its total area devoted to seating of fans and guests. If 3/8 of that seating area is used for general admission and the rest for reserved, find the fraction of the total area used for reserved seating. Well, if we start off with 4/5 of this area, and we know that 3/8 of that is general admission, if we were to subtract 3/8, then what we have left would have to be the reserved seating. So now we need to find us a common denominator. Between 5 and 8, our common denominator would be 40. That's the first thing that both 5 will go into and 8 will go into. So now 5 times 8 is 40. So 4 times 8 would give us 32. Now we've created that equivalent fraction. For the second one, 8 times 5 would be 40, so we do the same thing to the top. 3 times 5 would be 15, so again we've created an equivalent fraction. Now we can do the subtraction. Keeping that denominator since it's the same, 32 minus 15, well, 32 minus 15, I'll have to come over here to the side and do that. That would be 17. So our answer would be 17/40 of the seating area is used for reserved seating. Now, let's try another one, another last problem here. So here we have find the diameter of the hole in the mounting bracket shown. It says the diameter is the distance across the center of the hole. So if we want the diameter, we want this distance right here. Well, what they've told us about this problem is that the entire distance all the way across is 15/16. So I'm going to draw that in right here. This is 15/16 all the way across. Well, if I want this little section right in here, then I really need to remove this part, and I also need to remove this section. So let's start out with our 15/16. And right now, let's just remove this 3/8. So if I subtract off the 3/8, we would need a common denominator. The common denominator here will be 16. Both of those will go into 16. And since our first fraction is already over 16, we don't have to do anything to it. For the second one, though, 8 times 2 would be 16, so 3 times 2 would be 6. And now we can subtract those. So 15 minus 6 would be 9, so we would have 9/16. So now what that's telling us right now is that if we've taken this part out, now we just have starting here and going to the end. That tells us that that's 9/16 long. But we still have to remove this section so that we'll just have here in the center left. So if I start off with that 9/16 and I subtract off another 3/8, well, we need a common denominator again. Again, that denominator will be 16. So our first fraction is fine. It's already over the common denominator. But our second fraction, we would have to multiply top and bottom by 2 in order to get that common denominator. So 3 times 2 would be 6. Now we can subtract. 9/16 minus 6/16 would be 3/16. That tells us that this little area right in here is 3/16 units long. Well, in this case it would be inches.